Willie D Live.
What's up, family? It's day 6 of the Diddy federal trafficking trial, and the saga continues. Diddy's defense attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, grilled Don Richard about her allegation Diddy made threats, pointing out Don met with prosecutors several times without mentioning that. She also got Don to admit she'd never seen Diddy wave, load, or cock a gun, and said the singer had been inconsistent on whether she ever saw anyone pay Diddy's drug dealer. The former Danity Kane member testified for the prosecution in the Diddy trial that Diddy told her if he didn't get his way, people could go missing. Give me a thumbs up if you believe that, fam. Thumbs down and say, nah, man, she lying. My thoughts. I don't really think that Don brought anything significant to the trial. I thought she was going to, hit us with some juggernauts, and she ain't really do nothing. She's pretty much regurgitated what she's already said publicly. And none of what she said was like jaw-dropping. She did testify that she saw Diddy hit Cassie, but the prosecution is trying to make a racketeering case. And Diddy hitting Cassie is not what he's being tried for. He's not being tried for domestic violence. He's being tried for racketeering. Now, obviously, they're trying to make the case of Diddy not being a good person with the domestic violence, trying to show his propensity for violence and having his way and controlling people. See, that's what that is about, letting people get a bird's eye view of his character from the people who know him best, right? But Don, she really didn't do a whole lot to help the prosecution's case. When Don was leaving the trial, there was people pretty much heckling her. Some woman was like, what's the size of Diddy's D? Like, damn. Give me 10 million, I'll let somebody beat on me. Some woman yelled out, give me 10 million, I'll let somebody abuse me. You could beat the hell out of me for 10 million. Dawn recounted an event in 2009 where she says Diddy punched Cassie in the face, giving her a swollen eye. They attended an event in Central Park a short time later, and Cassie wore sunglasses, presumably to hide her injury, as did Don. When the prosecutor asked Don why she wore sunglasses, she replied, solidarity. However, she did say there were limits to how involved they would get in Diddy and Cassie's relationship because, she said, I asked myself, if he did that to someone he supposedly loved, what would he do to an employee? So I approached Mr. Combs with softness. Prosecutors also asked Don about the drugs and the guns. She testified Diddy would get all his drugs, weed, Molly, cocaine, etc., from one man. As she put it, he had it all, including Plan B birth control, she added. Diddy kept all of the narcotics in a Louis Vuitton toiletry bag that went everywhere from domestic to overseas. As for weapons, Dawn said she saw Diddy carry guns on his lower back, and she also saw his security guards, D-Rock and Bonds, with firearms. Okay, they had guns. And he's a high-profile celebrity. That's like somebody saying, I saw his bodyguard with a gun. Well, he's a damn governor. He's the president. She's, Beyonce. Security and guns go together like spaghetti and meatballs. I wouldn't trust somebody working security who did not have a gun. That's how you get called, what do they call them? Top cop. Top flight security. Yeah, that's how you get called top flight security. Ain't no way I'd be working without a gun. In fact, I used to have a job working security. I worked in a plant, an oil plant, right? And I used to work security. I used to turn the keys, right, at night. And it was dark. The place was sitting on about maybe 5 acres, and then they had another building across the street. And it was situated in 5th Ward, right? My neighborhood, but it can be dangerous, right? So I had to walk out of that building and into another building that was situated across the street, and then turn the keys over there too. But they didn't give me a gun. I didn't feel protected. So I got my own gun. Ain't no way I was walking around that, man, without a gun, man. People be looking on the come up, man, and next thing you know, ding, ding, fries and shake. Nah, man, I couldn't. I felt too vulnerable. Yeah, I stayed strapped. I don't see how somebody can call themselves a security guard and don't even have a gun. I mean, how are you going to secure anything? How are you going to protect anything or anyone if you ain't got that bang bang with you? Yeah. Back to Don Richard. I don't know what Don goes from here. I can pretty much tell you that her career is going to be stalled out because, for better or worse, when you step out in the field like that and go after somebody like Diddy, they still got connections. And then there are others who are in the game who may be thinking that, man, he did all of that for her and she was disloyal, and she, went after him and, tried to bury him, right? And they may hold that against her. Now, I'm saying, for better or worse, Don might be telling the truth. She might be a perfectly cool person to be around. If anything happened that she say happened, then you got to give her props for being brave enough to literally face the music. Literally go into the belly of the beast and point at Diddy and, and say, yeah, you did this to me and I'm standing on it. You gotta be brave to do that. But how does that look for her now that all of that is over? Maybe she can get a book deal out of it because that's what everybody else is doing. There are a lot of people who are going to come up off this trial. I'm talking about big money. Almost everybody involved is going to be able to put out a book. I'm talking about from the judge to the prosecutors to the defense attorneys to the witnesses to the jurors. Yeah. And then you have reporters who are sitting in there who are going to be able to put out a book. You have spectators. Even people who are not on the inside, they're standing on the outside and just reporting what they see and who's coming and going. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are going to come up off this trial. One of the things that Dawn has in her favor in terms of being able to revitalize her music career is the internet. You do not need majors to sell records anymore. Yeah, you need majors to get those trophies and stuff like that, in most cases. But you don't need the majors to sell records and do the big stages. No more talk.